Hi, everyone. My name is Jamie Smith, and I am your host on today's Nurse Tech podcast. And today we have Dr. Simone Odwin-Jenkins. Hi there.
Hello. Hi, how are you doing today?
Great. So tell us, how did you get started in nursing and what motivated you to become a nurse?
Well, I guess one of my biggest motivations to become a nurse is when my sister actually had a child who was born with a disease called hydrops fatalis. And she was in a 9-month pregnancy. We were all looking so forward to this baby. She was born, and that's when we found out that the baby was ill. I had already had my first child. I was married. I was excited for her. And so I spent a lot of time with her in the hospital and in the NICU. And prior to me becoming a nurse, I was in accounting. So I was a staff accountant. So as I spent time at Johns Hopkins Hospital, watching the way the staff cared, not only for my niece, but for my sister, I wanted to be a part of that. I wanted to do something that really made a difference. And I saw the care that they gave, and I just wanted to be a part of that. So I went home one evening, I sat down, I thought about it, and I spoke to my husband about my change in career. My husband was so supportive, and that's how it started. I started looking for programs. I started looking at what did I need to do to at least have the basics. And I started taking some courses at the community college level to get some of the prereqs done and applied to nursing school. And here I am.
Okay, so you said your sister ended up having a baby with the certain disease you mentioned,
Yes.
and you noticed when the baby was born, you guys knew the baby was ill. You spent time with the baby, your sister, in the neonatal intensive care unit. You saw the interaction and the care given, and you knew you wanted to be a part of that. So you decided to switch over from being a staff accountant over to a nurse, and your husband was supportive of it. You started off going to community college, and you became a nurse from there. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay. So can you tell us more about your advocacy as a director of nursing?
So one of the things I'm a big advocate for patients and making sure that my staff are caring well for the patients, but I'm also an advocate for my staff. So one of the things I feel very much compelled to talk about is how do we care for our own staff and our nurses? And I think we think about improving patient satisfaction. In my mind, I think before we can do that, we have to improve staff satisfaction. So I meet with my staff, I round daily, I touch base with the staff nurses, my managers. I think one of the things we have to do here is really look at meet our staff where they are. We have staff that are going through quite a bit with this pandemic, or now is this endemic. And I think we need to really look at resources that are out there for support for them so they could also take care of themselves, so they can also take care of our patients.
I respect that. So in order to have improved quality of care for the residents, you have to make sure your staff are satisfied. From what I'm getting from what you're saying, you take care of your staff, you encourage them, you improve that morale, and it can impact your patient satisfaction. Is that right?
It is. You're absolutely correct, because one of the things you have to do is really work with your staff for them to understand what's happening. So if I can make my staff's day better throughout the day, I've failed. And so one of the things I do, I like to communicate. I like to have that really deep connection with my staff, because I know once they feel that they are supported and well cared for, my patients will be well cared for.
You could not have said that any better. I respect that, and I've heard other leaders make the same comment. So what is an acute healthcare setting? Can you explain that to us?
Sure. So it's a hospital setting. It's like any other community hospitals or academic medical center. It's a soup to nuts. So here in my hospital for acute care, we have, you come through the emergency room or coming to have surgery, and you have inpatient, outpatient, procedural areas, rehab. We have it all in one place. So it's where our patients come in with acute injury or acute illness that we care for.
Okay. So tell us, how is it like to have worked in this type of setting now for over 20 years?
It's actually eye-opening and interesting, because I think if anyone has not walked through the space, if you've not come through the ED and see the care that's being given there, if you've not come into the inpatient side, the critical care units, it's 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 a vibrant. It sounds crazy, but it's vibrant. It's enriching, and it's enlightening, because I think when our patients come through, they know they're going to see wonderful care. I love the fact that I'm able to train and teach and mentor and grow staff. So I think I love the setting. I just love what I do. I think this is where I think anyone should start in acute care. Anyone should be in an acute care facility. So you see so much that's happening. All
Yeah.
of the disease processes, it's here.
Be able to learn a whole lot, see it.
You learn a whole lot. Yes.
So, as a director of nursing, what do you do to create a respectful working environment for everyone, the nurses, the medical staff?
I think it starts with speaking directly to folks. I like to address issues head on. I like to just meet and greet and get an understanding of who everyone is, because at the heart of it all, you have to know who the folks are that you are working with. You have to understand what drives folks. You have to understand their heart and what breaks their heart. So you have to really be able to connect at a level, as a personal level, and be able to have that deep connection one-on-one, and have the communication back and forth. I think one of the things that we always have to do is just transparency is key. If I'm coming to someone, I'm coming to sit into my CMO's office to discuss something, I'm going to be extremely transparent with what is happening and what I need from him. And so we have that connection where we can give and take and talk. People don't always agree. We agree to disagree, but we walk away knowing that our purpose is the same, to care for our patients.
So, you happen to mention speaking directly to staff, meet, greet, get to know them. That popped out when you said that, because you're not talking about a phone call, you're not talking about an email. Speaking directly, being transparent, getting to know them, be engaged, and have connections.
Yes, I think that's important. You can't hide behind a computer. You can't hide behind a phone. You have to get out there where they are. If you want to make a change, you want to be able to discuss an important topic. You have to be there where they are. So if you have to do a huddle right in the middle of the nurses station and say, here's what's happening, here's what I need from you, you have to be there. You cannot do it over the phone. You cannot do it on an email. They have to see your presence. They have to know that you care and that you're delivering the message that needs to be delivered.
I could see that going much further as opposed to just sending an email. So
Yes.
thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us more about your approach in employee development and mentoring nurse leaders and staff nurses.
This is the core of what I do and what I love. It's not when you take a nurse leader job, you don't normally think about all the other pieces of mentoring and development. But one of the things that I love is really tapping into what drives a new nurse or what drives someone seasoned. So when I find that someone's interested in a particular thing, I look for ways to bring them into a conversation. I try to develop them and actually look at, can I bring them into a certain meeting so they can hear what's happening? And it's one of the things that I truly enjoy. I do one-on-one mentoring with my staff, not only my nurse managers, but staff nurses who want to move into leadership, because I think it's important for them to not only see their world, but my world, our world of what nursing leadership looks like. And it's not a cookie cutter piece. You can't say I'm going to put this person into this spot because it looks like it will work for them. They need to understand what that will look like. And on any given day, our work changes. And some days is as difficult as all get out. And all other days you walk out feeling so good. And then you walk back in the next day knowing that you're refreshed to do it again. I usually try to make time. Like I said, when I round and I meet folks, I kind of ask them, what are you looking for? What kind of things do you like to do? And then I kind of listen to key messages. Maybe someone wants to be a part of a fall committee, or they want shared governance. They want to be a part of something. And then I start working with them from the basic level all the way to getting a nurse manager position if that's what they're looking for. So I've worked through a lot of mentoring, a lot of coaching, and coaching and mentoring are two different things. So I have to sometimes work through some things that didn't feel great for someone and try to help them understand where we're leading and where we're going and what they want to do.
Your response to that goes back to having that connection with your staff. You mentioned you figure out what drives this nurse, this person, what interests do they have, such as do they have interest in being a part of the falls committee, or like you said, if they want to be in leadership, you make sure you have that one-on-one with them. You go to meetings to help them grow. You're with them from the start. Is that right?
That is right. I try to bring them in, especially when they're if there's their first meeting, and always talk to them beforehand. You may hear this, you may hear that. Just take it all in, and when we're done, I can walk you through everything, so you have a full and complete understanding.
I respect that. And also, if they have that genuine connection with you, you build a rapport, and then they can come to you with any question because they've got that connection with you.
Yes, and the trust. So you're building trust, right?
Yeah,
that's what it really is. You're building trust. You as the leader, you're choosing to trust this person. This person's choosing to trust you, and you can really talk through so many different things and get to some good perspectives on what's happening around us, and just learn a lot. I learn every day from my staff. There are things that are happening, and I'm just open and listening and trying to hear what I can do to help them.
And when you have that kind of trust with these nurses that you're helping become into like leadership positions, it ultimately makes them stronger as they grow because they've got that rapport and that trust.
And they know they could always reach out. So even if I've grown someone and they've moved on and they've taken their first or second leadership position somewhere, I give them my cell phone. So we always stay in connection. I've stayed in connection with so many of my staff who were when I was a manager, and they're now managers. So it's a great place to be able to offer that. I enjoy it. And so it's just something that is something I love.
And if they can still come back to you even after they've got that management role, I think that says a lot.
I appreciate them coming back and even talking to me and reaching out. It's give and take, it's give and take. I may reach out to them to ask a question.
Yeah. So what do you do to ensure your own leadership growth and development?
Well, happy that you asked that, because I just recently attended the CNO Academy that's been sponsored by Johnson & Johnson and AMN Health. It was I want to say 3-day intensive. And I learned a lot. So I was able to, you go to these things and I try to network. I try to just keep like all of these things. I have so many things just pouring out of my head from what I learned. So I always try to do something I learn something new. I try to do more educational things. I keep current with all of the nursing organizations that I'm a part of, because that's where I learn. That's how I keep connected. That's how I keep my learning going. So I was honored to be invited to attend the CNO Academy last week, and I enjoyed every bit of it. I learned so much.
That's awesome. So you always find ways of growing. You stay up to date with your nursing organizations, and you said earlier too that you learn from your staff. You listen, you hear what they say, you learn that way.
Right.
And you attended the CNO Academy. What does CNO stand for?
Chief Nursing Officer.
Okay. So as a well-accomplished nursing leader and consultant, how do you encourage our nurses and our future nurses to keep going and not stop, don't give up, and to keep pursuing their nursing career?
Well, I think you have to meet them where they are, right? I think there are times when people want to take a break, and I've had some of my staff take a break. but I'm always reaching out, always staying connected. So what are you doing right now? Tell me what's going on. Um, how can I help you? I usually send, if I get stuff in my mailbox that I think is going to be something that's going to work for someone, I send it to them. You may want to consider attending this. You may want to do this webinar. There's so many things out there. I think easier now, that we're doing Zoom meetings and all this stuff. All these things can be done remotely, and you can still, at the comfort of your own home, get the education and continue that. So I always continue. There are times when someone may need to take a break, but that's my job then to continue to push and say, okay, how long of a break are we talking about, especially if they're in school and they want to take a sabbatical? Okay, and then as you're taking your sabbatical, what are you doing to keep yourself still interested? Because I don't want someone to take something, stop it, and then go back. So you always want to have someone behind them, their cheerleader going, you can do
Right.
this, you can do this.
That's right. Well, one of the things that is making it hard for folks, and the reason I asked that question is because of the burnout, the pandemic. How do you feel about the current working conditions for nurses?
I think have some. I'm disturbed a little bit about some of it, and I have to tell you, the recent news of the nurse in Tennessee, Nurse Redonda, that really took my breath away.
Yes.
And I have to tell you, this happened last Friday, and coming back to work on Monday and looking at my nurses, I feel you can tell when people are tired. And so one of the things that I try to do is to just tell folks, please, we have resources, we have all these things that are our fingertips sometimes, but some people don't want to do it because fear, or people would think they're just weak, all these things that people kind of have in their minds. But there are times when you just need to take a break, get up and go for a walk, do something different. If you need to seek help, please seek help, because one of the things this pandemic has taught us that all we work quite a bit, we don't take care of ourselves the way we should have, and we are exhausted. And yes, nursing, healthcare, we're all exhausted. But the one thing I want us to all do is learn to support each other more and help. If you see a colleague that just looks frazzled, reach out. Can I help you with something? I think sometimes we're in our own little bubble, and we're thinking we've got to get this done. And we look up and we see someone, and we may need to be that person to reach out. Burnout is real. I've had some people around me who just couldn't handle it. And one of the things, I can't say enough about seeking help, because it's a tough road. Nursing is hard anyway. We don't need to add more and more and more on top of it. We need to take care of each other.
You're exactly right. And nursing is extremely difficult. And you mentioned before, you said we don't do a very good job of taking care of ourselves. We have to take care of ourselves before we can take care of others. You mentioned, slowing down, take care of yourself, and then reach out to others who need the support. We all need it. Reach out, show that we care. And then you mentioned this nurse from last week, and that's tough. I've had nursing students talk about it. I went to a coffee shop recently, and they're like, I don't know if I want to be a nurse. They're like, it was a system failure, and then this nurse ended up with a criminal outcome, from the court. Gosh, so it's tough for sure.
And when I guess this analogy came to me as you were talking. When you get on the airplane and say, in case of emergency, put your own oxygen mask on first. That's what we need to do. So we can put our own oxygen mask first, then we can help the other person. So we need to be internalizing. Mindfulness works, meditation, thinking about the things that bring you joy. I had a colleague talk to me recently about that she does a gratitude journal with her grandkids. How lovely. You never think about that kind of stuff. I never, for me, how did I take him? I walk, I do yoga, but I never stop and take the time to think and think about gratitude and all the things I'm grateful for, because I am grateful for quite a bit. And so if we take that time daily to think about that, I think that would also help us all too.
I agree. And the gratitude journal goes along with someone else I had interviewed. They mentioned every day you wake up to think about 3 things you are grateful for. And it starts with that positive mindset, and also walking, like you said, exercise, doing some yoga, taking care of yourself. It goes far.
It does. It does.
So what are your thoughts on the community? How do you think nurses can benefit from the NurseDex community for nurses?
I think it needs to be something that people need to be paying attention to and be aware of. Before I was reached out, I saw it, within LinkedIn, and I wasn't fully engaged and aware of it. I think it would be a positive thing to have it pushed out in more avenues, and having someone like me actually being part of it, and I could share it with my team, right? I could share what's happening. I think if each one of us who are part of this share it, the knowledge will get out and people could be able to participate more.
Right. So is there any other topic, anything that we haven't discussed today that you would like to mention?
No, I don't think so. I think wellness is important. I agree with that. I think we just need to be kinder to each other. I think we need to offer grace to each other. And just know that we will get through this. We will get through this time. I'm very positive we will get through this. We just need to all work together.
Teamwork, being kind.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
So lastly, are you on NurseDex Social?
I am. I actually joined, and so I'm excited about all there is to be offered. And I'm, like you said, like I just said previously, I'm sharing all of this. So I'm gonna have, like, I'm having my managers be a part of it. I want people to understand NurseDex.
Great. So I would love to continue the conversation on NurseDex Social. So thank you for your time today.
Thank you so much. It was lovely. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you so much.